That is something.
Yeah.
Coach, talk about how practice was today and kind of the first week with your defensive line.
Well, for the first week, it's been really, really solid. We've got some guys, the obvious suspects that are stepping up. Josh is playing really well right now. So is Fletcher. Those guys are guys that we know about. The thing that that I'm looking for is those other guys, the Caleb Ewells, the Curtis Burgesses. Those are the guys that really have to make the steps the next 3 weeks before we play. So, I'm pleasantly surprised, I guess. But, we got a long way to go before we're ready to go play Memphis.
Talk about that defensive end battle. You got some guys there battling to get some reps.
We do. We've got, Trevor and Shane and Corvell Harrison-Gay. You've got a bunch of guys. You got some of our young guys like Preston Smith, who's really shown flashes at times. So, we've got a good group of talented guys, but, nobody's taking charge yet. Nobody's become the guy. And when I say that, I'm talking about Sean Ferguson. We need that guy to become the leader of that group, and we don't have that yet.
Talk a little bit about Brandon May. How's he done now that you've seen him in full pass?
I've been pleased with Brandon. Obviously he's got to get used to our culture and how we do things as far as that the tempo and the energy and the physicalness that we play with at our place. That's taking nothing away from where he was at, but obviously when you change, after 5 years, it's a bit of a transition. But he's doing really, really well.
How does your practice duties change from last year being a D-line coach to being a defensive coordinator? Kind of your daily routine in practice.
Well, just organization, making sure that we're all on the same page, that we all have the same vision, that we're all seeing things the exact same way. Meaning from how we talk to the kids as far as what we're telling them. How we play certain situations in a ball game. So, those are the things that really involve you. You don't spend as much time, per se, with your players talking about the fundamentals like, I was able to a year ago. But, it's a transition for all of us, myself included.
Your two freshman D tackles, P.J. Jones and James Maiden.
Yes.
I know it's early, but your first impression of what you've seen from them?
Both of them got a really bright future. Both of them are as advertised. James from a small school obviously has to learn how to practice at the tempo that we practice at. All of them do. And then you look at P.J. Jones. He's explosive as I thought he was going to be. He's strong. He's got some natural instincts, things you don't have to teach. So that's been really good to see.
Bohanna, Holmes, and Chris Hughes, have they stepped up? Because they're obviously going to have to play a lot this year.
No question. The biggest thing that you can't teach is experience. What those guys have got to get is they got to get a ton and tons and tons and tons of reps, because the world they play in, they've got to be able to see everything. But the biggest thing that we try to focus on with those guys is making sure they know what to do. We'll teach them how to do it. The key for them is to know what to do, and I've been pleased with them so far.
How are you giving them? Are you doing anything special in practice to give them, as you say, tons of reps?
Well, we do. We walk through. We rep it in our meeting rooms. We got a ton of meeting time that we spend with them. We get our walkthroughs where we spend a lot of time, so those guys are getting reps before they ever touch the practice field. And then when they do practice, go out to practice, we make sure that the guys that we kind of foresee are getting the right number of reps to, we try not to go hodgepodge. We want to make sure the right guys are getting the right reps in the right situations.
Go ahead.
You've got experience on both sides of the line.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that help you as a defensive coordinator for Fletcher Cox and Josh Board to be facing the Gabe Jacksons and Tobias Smiths and Quentin Salisbury's?
Our offense is really difficult to defend now. They make you defend the field horizontally and vertically, and they can do that because of the guys they have up front. Very rarely do you have guys who can run the ball well and throw the ball as efficiently as our guys do. So they stress you. Like I say about this league, you're only as good as you are up front. So they make us better every day.
Offensively and defensively, it seems like you guys pride yourselves on having hybrid players.
Right.
And on defense, just how many guys you think you have that could play more than one position? Is it practically everyone?
In a way, yeah. We pride ourselves on everybody being able to play at some point another position. It might be a Mike linebacker rushing over the nose. Well, in theory, he just became a nose guard, rushing over the center. It might be an end dropping into the curl, in theory, he just became an outside linebacker. So the more you can do, the longer you stay around in our place. So, that's the key.
No two coaches are alike. How is your defense going to be different than last year's defense? What's your
Well,
personality going to be like on it?
It's, I've gotten this question so often, it's different because of the people, philosophically, and I'll be consistent with it because it's the truth. You have to stop the run game in this league. You can't give up big balls in this league. You got to play great in the red zone. If you can do those three things, and those are three things that we measured a year ago when Manny and I sat down together. We can't let people run the football. We can't get it thrown over our head. And if we play good red zone defense, and I think we ranked in the top of the SEC in almost every one of those categories. Those are unchanging. What's different? Obviously Manny's, he's gone. But what's different is, there's no KJ Wright, there's no Chris White, there's no Pernell McPhee. That makes you different automatically. So what you immediately start doing is say, who do we have and what can they do? Because there's no free agency, obviously, in college football. We have what we have. So, that's the biggest thing, is finding out on a day-to-day basis what your players can do instead of talking about what they can't do.
Based on what you've seen so far, then,
We can run. We can hit you.
Speed.
We're physical, and we like to play. We like to play. And so those are things that I'm excited about. The other things are just going to take reps. They're going to take, just time and effort and relentlessly us coaching fundamentals and technique. And if we do those things, we'll be where we need to be.
Having 245-pound, 250-pound defensive ends, does that fit into what you're looking for then? The quickness, the speed?
I always think this game is about, I always think this thing is about how strong you are and how explosive you are. If it was about how fast you were, Usain Bolt would be playing. If it was about how strong you were, there'd be every bodybuilder in the world. It's about athleticism. Can guys stop, start, change directions? And at the end of the day, will they go run into another person as hard as they can? That's really what it comes down to defensively. So those are the things that we measure. Can he change directions? Can he stop? Can he start? And will he go run into people?
Got one more question?
Is that something y'all try to get, I know Matt Bayless probably has his own way of doing things, but y'all recommend something for him to do to get that explosiveness and power?
Oh yeah, Matt's as good as anybody. What makes Matt great is one thing. Coach Bayless is great. He is a football functional teacher. He prepares the guys to play football, and that's what that comes down to: speed, quickness, explosiveness, the intangibles. Obviously, if you're a 4.9, we want you to be a 4.9. If Matt can get you a tenth faster, great. But what we want to do is we want guys to play at their optimum level. Whatever your potential is, that's where we want you to play at.